Developing right now on Morning News Now, say it ain't snow. This morning, millions of Americans digging out ahead of yet another winter storm as dangerously low temperatures are now covering several states. We're tracking the conditions and what you can expect where you live. Plus, Donald Trump expected back in court as a key witness takes the stand in his high-profile defamation damages trial. We'll break down the case and how today's testimony could impact the outcome. Back on the campaign trail, the top GOP candidates now in New Hampshire ahead of next week's primaries. Donald Trump celebrating his landslide win in Iowa, but warning voters not to get too comfortable.
Please, it's very important. We have to keep our eye on the ball in November.
We have team coverage, including the latest poll numbers. And blowing smoke, why researchers now say marijuana shouldn't be used as a treatment tool for opioid addiction.
Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Wednesday.
I know.
Frigid pretty much no matter where you are this morning.
That is true. So much of the country, here included. I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to get started with that today. This deep freeze, back-to-back winter storms are bringing snow and freezing conditions to the Pacific Northwest, while the Great Lakes could receive up to 3 feet of snow through tomorrow night.
This morning, more than 100 million people across the country are still under wind chill alerts. So far, at least 12 deaths have been linked to the winter weather since Friday. In the South, a hard freeze warning is in place for almost 25 million people. You can see parts of Texas frozen solid. Officials there urging residents and businesses to reduce energy usage to ease the strain on the state's power grid.
The freezing temperatures have also closed schools and have led to thousands of flight cancellations. But here in New York, the Arctic blast was a welcome sight to some, with the city seeing its first significant snowfall in almost 2 years. That might have been me out there doing some snow angels.
Just a few minutes, we're going to get a full check of the forecast with Angie Lastman, who's tracking another Arctic blast. But we begin with NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa, who's made her way to St. Louis.
Hey, good morning from St. Louis, one of so many American cities waking up once again to absolutely brutally cold temperatures this morning. It is a wind chill here of -2 this morning, so it is absolutely painful. And then across the country, authorities actually confirming a grim update. 12 people, they say, have now died across the U.S. Due to this latest winter system. That includes 5 weather-related deaths that were confirmed in Tennessee yesterday, bringing that state's total this week to 6. So authorities across the country tracking that. And we're also just seeing the dangerous effects of this storm stack up, frankly, coast to coast. Out in Colorado, roads were a mess yesterday. Drivers slipping and sliding all over the highways. In Alabama, we saw a semi-truck go off the road. In Missouri, we saw dozens of cars abandoned in the snow after going off the highway there. Air travel still a mess yesterday. Thousands of delays and cancellations across the country. It appears to be a bit calmer this morning, but of course those numbers could still go up throughout the day. 95 million Americans under wind chill alerts this morning as this winter weather continues to hover across large swaths of the Great Plains, Midwest, and up into the Northeast. And speaking of, Buffalo, New York got a staggering 40 inches of snow over the weekend. And this next system coming, the governor warning people there to be ready for a possible 3 more feet of snow by the end of the weekend. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Measured in feet. All right, Maggie Vespa, thank you so much.
All right, for a closer look at the weather in your area, let's get a check on your Morning News Now weather.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman joins us. Angie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. We've got another storm system that's impacting the west, and it's going to eventually move across the country. And we've got impacts down the line for the east as we get through the next couple of days. But let's start out west. We've got 16 million people under these winter alerts. They range from the Rockies to the Cascades and out towards the Pacific Northwest, where we'll see rain, snow, ice, all on the table. Specifically today, I think for places like Oregon, you can see it's kind of a mess and snow falling as you go a little farther to the east. But we do have that rain working onshore for folks in places like Oregon. Here's the system that we're going to watch here over the next day or so. The heaviest of that snow looks to be centered across the Cascades and the northern Rockies. But again, we've got wind and we've got rain also included in that, and some icy conditions that's going to make travel difficult across that region. As we get into tomorrow, notice the snow that starts to spread into portions of the Central Plains. And we have this new system that kind of develops this area of low pressure that's eventually going to, yes, bring rain and potentially some wintry conditions to folks across the southeast. But it lifts a little farther to the north as we get into the end of our work week. And there's some of that additional snow across portions of the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. We'll pick up some more snow on the eastern portions of the lakes as well. So we've got a couple of days where we'll see more snow accumulating across that region. Meanwhile, as far as the rain is concerned, 1 inch, 2 inches, all on the table here, closer to the coast. Here's the hazardous travel conditions, though, that ice that I mentioned. This is going to be possible across portions of the Northwest, Washington, Oregon. Those are the spots where we could potentially see some power outages, too. And when we take a big picture look at the snow, maybe a half of a foot up to a foot possible across this region. We move a little farther to the east, and you can see downwind of the lakes, that's where we'll see those highest amounts, potentially a couple of feet of snow by the time this is all said and done through Friday. Maybe another inch or two in some of these spots that were really excited yesterday to pick up snow, places like New York. And of course, we've got to talk about the temperatures because, boy, it's chilly no matter really where you look. We look all the way down to the Gulf Coast. These freeze alerts are up for 30 million people, stretching from Texas to Florida. We've got wind chill alerts for 95 million people across much of the east. And we're going to have a shot of reinforcing cold air that works in by the time the end of the work week finishes. Minneapolis, just 6 degrees on Friday, 5 for Omaha. We go from the teens on Wednesday in Chicago to 20 degrees on Thursday and back down to the teens by the end of the week. And the 30s are in place as far south as St. Louis until Friday when we drop to the teens. And when we look at those early morning wind chill temperatures, guys, it's much worse. Of course, we've been dealing with this for days. We go from -4 on Thursday to -23 on Friday to -29 on Saturday for our friends in Omaha. Bitter cold, lots of layers are going to be needed through the weekend.
So -4 is the good temperature.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy
it while you can. Thank goodness.
All right. Thanks, Angie.
Thank
Appreciate it. This morning, President Trump is expected back in court here in New York for the second day of the E. Jean Carroll civil damages trial. Mr. Trump attended yesterday's proceedings after winning the Iowa caucuses the night before, but he left in the afternoon just before opening statements so he could go to a campaign event in New Hampshire.
Last year, a jury found the civil for the civil case, found Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation and awarded Carroll $5 million in damages. Now, this second trial focuses on how much Trump should pay after he made disparaging remarks about Carroll during his presidency and then after that verdict. Trump is appealing that verdict and has denied ever meeting Carroll.
NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos joins us now. So, Danny, trial got underway with some pretty combative opening statements yesterday. What stood out to you?
Well, what stood out to me, obviously, was the former president in court for something that is really jury selection. Really, you don't have a strategic need to have the client there, even a very influential client like Donald Trump. But really what stood out to me was the pre-trial skirmishes between the attorneys, as the plaintiff's attorneys tried mightily to limit Donald Trump speaking, if at all. In fact, they made the argument that he has no role at this trial at all in terms of his testimony. And it's a decent argument because this trial is about damages only. That's why you're going to see it move at breakneck speed. It'll be finished in about a week, maybe 2 at the outset. They did jury selection in 1 day. All these other criminal trials, you're not going to see jury selection complete in 1 day. So that's because the issues in this case are so narrow. We're really only talking about evidence of damages, whether they be compensatory or primarily punitive. Damages intended to punish, and those are based only on Donald Trump's hatred, ill will, spite, basically cruelty will be a factor in awarding punitive damages. But liability, what Donald Trump did, that's already been established.
We've started to see Trump lashing out at the judge on Truth Social. Do you think we could see any type of restriction here on what he's able to say and where?
Donald Trump is no longer in New York State Court before Justice Engoron. And this is just my feeling, but you're going to be able to get away with that a little more in state court than you would in federal court. But as soon as I say that, I realize that no judge, state or federal, wants to play a game of chicken when it comes to holding Donald Trump in contempt, because they know at the end of that path, it is an escalating continuum where at the end you have to incarcerate a party or someone in your court that will not listen, and no judge wants to attempt to incarcerate a former president who is flanked by a Secret Service detail.
You mentioned he doesn't have to be there. He wasn't there for the first trial in this sort of E. Jean Carroll situation. He is there this time. There's an argument that it's helping him politically, but from a legal strategy standpoint, is there any benefit to having him there?
If there was a benefit, the time to do that was in the first trial, where he could have denied everything that E. Jean Carroll said. He could have said, this is all false. I've never met her. These are things he wants to say now. But he could have said that during the liability portion. And what happened in that first trial is liability was established, and then through a principle called res judicata. In other words, if there's an identical issue in the earlier case and the same parties are involved, then the court won't go through the trouble of retrying those evidentiary issues. They're deemed established. So Donald Trump could have made a difference at his earlier trial if he had shown up and testified. At this point, most of it's over already.
All right, Danny Ceballos, thank you so much.
Thanks, Danny. Well, the presidential primary season is now fully underway following Donald Trump's win in the Iowa caucuses this week. All eyes, of course, have now shifted to New Hampshire, where voters will cast their ballots in next Tuesday's primary. It could be a potential turning point for the Nikki Haley campaign. And despite her third-place finish in Iowa, recent polls show Haley within striking distance of former President Trump. NBC's Ali Vitale has more on how voters in the Granite State could help Haley score a badly needed win.
In New Hampshire's Live Free or Die primary, what could be Nikki Haley's do or die moment.
Welcome to Littleton. Okay, welcome to Littleton.
And the former UN ambassador taking no chances, saying she's not going to debate.
We expect to see you on the debate stage in New Hampshire. Is Trump going to be on the debate stage? Is that the metric? I mean, I've debated 5 times already and had strong debates. Now it's time to get Trump on the stage.
Haley confirming that with Trump sitting out yet again, she won't attend the New Hampshire debate, making her case against Trump on the campaign trail instead.
70% of Americans have said they don't want to see another Trump-Biden rematch.
A recent CNN New Hampshire poll taken before the Iowa caucus and before several candidates dropped out shows the former UN ambassador trailing Donald Trump by just single digits, boosted in part by a key endorsement from the state's popular Republican governor, Chris Sununu.
This is Nikki Haley versus Donald Trump for the next week.
Haley now casting the race in the same binary, her versus her former boss, even as she failed to pull ahead of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in Iowa.
We deserve a new direction under new conservative leadership.
Not getting it could spell problems for Republicans in a general election, too. NBC News polling out of Iowa showing half of Haley's backers would vote for Biden over Trump in the general election.
Trump and Biden both lack a vision for our country's future because both are consumed by the past, by investigations, by vendettas, by grievances.
The question now, can Haley consolidate that more moderate anti-Trump vote in the famously independent New Hampshire?
America deserves better.
That was Ali Vitale reporting there for us, while Haley is set to hold a campaign rally tonight in Rochester, New Hampshire, with Governor Sununu.
As for Governor DeSantis, he's looking to keep his momentum going in New Hampshire after his second-place finish in Iowa. NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns reports on how he's looking to garner support in more conservative territory.
Good morning! Fresh off his second-place finish in Iowa, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis touting his momentum heading into the New Hampshire primary.
Nikki Haley said only the top 2 from Iowa, go on to be viable. Well, guess what? We punched our ticket out of Iowa yesterday.
But in a departure from his rivals, DeSantis flying right to a campaign event in South Carolina, where he spoke to us exclusively.
Last night you were celebrating a second-place finish. You beat Nikki Haley by about 2 points. Is that a margin that you're comfortable with?
We obviously came in second, but amongst the broader Republican electorate, I was viewed very favorably. I mean, like what we did in Iowa, we did make an impression with a lot of those folks. I had people come up to me saying, I love you, man. I'm going to do Trump this time and do you next time. Now, that's not what I wanted to hear, but being there, we did make an impression.
DeSantis choosing to stump in South Carolina, an indication of his strategy to turn the tussle with Haley into a two-man race with Trump.
Of course he's formidable. He's a former president. No one ever said he's not a good... No one said he's not formidable. Of course, he's one of the most famous people in the world.
And to skip ahead to more conservative territory and try to knock out Haley on her home turf. He faces a tough road ahead. He's consistently polled around 5% in New Hampshire, trailing Nikki Haley and Donald Trump by double digits.
You really get hit hard.
And in Iowa, despite nearly 200 campaign stops across all 99 counties, DeSantis couldn't close the wide gap with Trump.
We are gonna fight!
He'll face a steeper climb in New Hampshire, where he's made only 43 stops so far, and has struggled to connect with the famed independent voters in the Granite State.
Our thanks to Dasha Burns for that report.
For more on the state of the race, let's bring in NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray. Mark, thanks very much for joining us this morning. So let's talk about recent polling in New Hampshire. It shows it really now being this two-person race between former President Trump and Nikki Haley. What factors make Haley more popular in this state than she was in Iowa?
Yeah, it all comes down to the composition of the electorate. In New Hampshire, independent or undeclared voters outnumber registered Democrats and Republicans. And what we are expecting in New Hampshire is roughly about close to half of the GOP electorate being these independent voters. In Iowa, just 18% of all Republican caucus goers turned out to be independents or crossover Democrats. So this is a fundamentally different electorate, which is why Nikki Haley is performing better in the polls in New Hampshire and why the race overall is closer than what we ended up seeing in Iowa.
So, Mark, because of that difference in the electorate, history shows us Iowa doesn't always translate to a win in New Hampshire. What more should we know about that and the comparisons between the two states?
Yeah, Joe, here is a history lesson. No non-incumbent Republican has been able to win both Iowa and New Hampshire in the history of the modern nominating process. And Donald Trump, if he's able to win in New Hampshire, will actually be the first non-incumbent Republican. Now, two Democrats have pulled off the feat, Al Gore in 2000 and John Kerry in 2004. But, the reason that, New Hampshire often goes a different way, one is just the composition of the electorate that I was telling you about. They're fundamentally different contests. But the other thing is that New Hampshire just sometimes has the tradition of bucking what Iowa wanted to do. I even go back to on the Democratic side of things, after Barack Obama's really big win in Iowa in 2008, that's when Hillary Clinton was able to pull off an upset just because New Hampshire voters simply wanted the contest to continue to go on.
Mark, after Trump's win in Iowa on Tuesday, he has this, early lead on delegates, likely not to relinquish them. But walk us through, remind us kind of some of this math here. What's it going to take for DeSantis and Haley to bridge that gap and ultimately get the support that they need?
It's going to take a seismic change in this race to really, knock out Donald Trump from his front-runner status. And we're still really early in the delegate game. But even if Nikki Haley is able to pull off the upset in New Hampshire and win that primary, when we go into contests like Nevada, go into South Carolina, Super Tuesday, the composition of those electorates will look a whole lot more like what we saw in Iowa than in New Hampshire. And so that is really just kind of the whole ball game that either Haley or DeSantis needs to have some kind of seismic event to upend the trajectory of this race.
All right, Mike Murray, thank you so much. We love when you come by. We appreciate it.
President Biden is set to meet with the top 4 congressional leaders at the White House later today. Multiple sources tell NBC News that his request for national security funding is on the agenda, including aid for Ukraine, Israel, and border security.
It's been tied up for weeks because Republicans won't approve the funding unless it includes tougher border policies. And all of this comes as the Friday night deadline draws closer for Congress to pass a short-term funding bill to avert a government shutdown before the money runs out.
NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us now. Julie, good morning. So big picture, they need to pass a short-term spending bill to avoid that government shutdown at the end of the week. Where do those talks stand right now?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Well, last night the Senate took the first step to try and unlock some of those votes, begin that process to pass that stopgap funding measure. Now the House gets back today. You'll remember the weather affected some of the attendance yesterday, where Speaker Johnson is going to have to rely on Democrats to get that measure through. And the same likely goes for the overall spending deal. You'll remember we kept talking about that $1.6 trillion number, the deal that Johnson struck with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. A lot of his members unhappy about it, but he did say he's going to stick to the contours of that agreement. This stopgap funding measure gives them more time to process it sometime into March, sticking with those 2 deadlines again, March 1st and March 8th. So appropriators doing the work behind the scenes to try and get all that done.
Julie, let's dig in on the border deal specifically. Senate negotiators have signaled that there's been some progress, but House Republicans are standing firm on what they want. What could a compromise look like here? Is there any hope for compromise?
Senate negotiators are still going back and forth over that provision of parole. You'll remember this is something Republicans want to restrict the presidential parole authority. This this specifically applies to humanitarian parole. This is not only migrants from Latin America, from South America. This is also from Ukraine, from Afghanistan. So this is really something that Democrats say the president should have the authority to do. Republicans, though, say there's no deal without that provision settled. Then you also have House Republicans who don't want to accept anything less than that partisan H.R. 2 border bill they managed to pass last year. That would go nowhere in the Democratic-controlled Senate. But you mentioned that White House meeting happening later today. We're told that this will include not only the top congressional leaders in the room with Biden, but also those key committee chairs where Ukraine is going to be a top focus. Because, again, border is tied to Ukraine. That's something House Republicans put on the table. They're going to have to untie those two measures in order to get it across the finish line. And the Biden administration is going to stress how important it is to fund Ukraine at this critical time in their war with Russia.
Julie, one more headline out of Capitol Hill I want to ask you about. Yesterday, senior lawmakers in Congress announced a bipartisan deal to expand the child tax credit, provide a series of tax breaks for businesses. So what's the benefit here for American families, and when could this go into effect?
Well, this is a pretty big deal, and it's significant that it was negotiated in a bipartisan way. This would provide so much relief, particularly to families with children, because it raises that gap, the $1,600 that families were originally eligible for per child. Now they can take that credit up to $2,000 over 2024 and 2025. That number is just going to go a little bit higher, and it's applicable to more than just one child. So this is really a lot of relief for American families, and it also is relief for American businesses, taking us back to those provisions negotiated under then President Trump in that 2017 tax deal. We have still to hear from some key Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate when it comes to this deal, but there is a lot of support to get it done. There's a lot of measures they could potentially attach it to. Once this deal is final and settled, once everybody has buy-in, including the congressional leaders, we'll see if they can make that happen on some of those government funding deadlines, which would be before tax season in April. Guys?
Julie Sirkin, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
There is much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, an alarming study and an urgent warning. What the American Cancer Society says is now the leading cause of cancer deaths in younger men, and what doctors say you can do to stay safe.
Up first after the break, canine controversy, why the Guinness World Records is investigating the dog named the oldest in the world. Stay with us. We're back with the latest on the war in Gaza, where there is a new aid agreement between Israel and Hamas. The deal was brokered by Qatar and France. Israel will now allow much-needed aid to get into the devastated Palestinian enclave in exchange for Hamas delivering medication to Israeli hostages. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from Tel Aviv with the latest headlines there. So, Raf, this is the first diplomatic breakthrough we've seen in a while. How exactly will this deal work, and just how much aid is going to get in?
So, Joe, this is a complex agreement, took weeks to negotiate. The medicine bought in France, delivered to Qatar, Qatar flying it to Egypt in Air Force jets, and it is going now to be delivered from Egypt by land into Gaza. What remains unclear is the so-called final mile of this delivery, whether it is going to be the Red Cross who takes this medicine to the hostages in Hamas captivity, whether the medicine is handed directly to Hamas themselves and they give it to their prisoners. We remain to see. Israel is saying it wants to see proof that this medication actually reached the hostages. Now, the much larger amount of medication is for Palestinian civilians in Gaza, and it is badly needed all over the Strip because, as we have seen, the healthcare system all but collapsed over the last 100 days of war. Shortages of even the most basic medical supplies, and the hope among health authorities is that this will go some way to easing that pain.
Yeah, I mean, Raf, this deal comes just as a group of UN human rights experts describe the situation in Gaza as, quote, unfolding genocide. That's in a new report released about the first 100 days of the war. What are some of their observations, and how's Israel responding?
So, Joe, they start this report with a pretty shocking statistic. 80% of all of the people worldwide facing the risk of famine or starvation right now are in Gaza, and they are saying Israel has deliberately cut off food supplies to Gaza and is destroyed effectively any system for producing food inside. Our team on the ground in Gaza spoke to a young girl called Nadine, and I want you to take a listen to a little bit of what she had to say.
The destruction around me proves that nowhere is safe here in Gaza. I mean, many were killed here, and I don't know how to feel about that. Like, everyone is being killed at this point. No one is safe. You're killing children. Am I threatening to you? Am I scary to you? Is that why you killed me? Is that why you killed my family? Is that why you killed my brother? Is that why you killed people around me? I don't know.
Now, Israel denies that it's deliberately starving the population in Gaza. They point out that there are hundreds of aid trucks passing through the Rafah crossing every day, and it says it is doing everything it can to speed up security checks to make sure that humanitarian aid reaches civilians in Gaza.
So, Ralph, this morning, the UN Secretary General is again calling for an immediate ceasefire. We understand a U.S. official is in Qatar to discuss a potential new hostage ceasefire deal. What more can you tell us about that and where things stand?
Right. So Brett McGurk, senior White House official, close to President Biden, one of the key people when it comes to the president's Middle East policy, back in the region, seeing if there is ground to be made on a ceasefire, on potential release of hostages. As you pointed out, Joe, it has been weeks now, not since the end of November, that any hostages have been released from Hamas captivity in Gaza. Israel says it is scaling down its military operations in the south, having already done so in the north. But our team says there is still heavy bombardment going on in the southern city of Khan Yunis. So for Palestinian civilians right now, it doesn't feel like this de-escalation is happening. Jeff.
All right, Raf Sanchez. Raf, thank you so much. The war in Gaza is heightening tensions across the Middle East. The U.S. carried out new strikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen, while Iran fired ballistic missiles into northern Iraq, targeting what it says was an Israeli spy base. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Cuby has the latest.
In the Middle East, the U.S. launched another airstrike against the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, targeting some anti-ship cruise missiles. And in Iraq, Iran launched a series of ballistic missiles into northern Iraq in the city of Erbil, causing major damage and striking near the U.S. military and U.S. consulate in that city. All this has the region increasingly on edge.
The U.S. striking back against Houthi rebels in Yemen again, destroying an anti-ship ballistic missile launcher that the U.S. says was preparing to attack ships in the Red Sea.
We anticipated the Houthis would continue to try to hold this critical artery at risk, and we continue to reserve the right to take further action.
It comes after the Houthis hit a commercial ship with a missile, according to the U.S. military. The Biden administration now redesignating the group as a foreign terrorist organization, according to 3 U.S. officials, the goal to cut off Houthi financing. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin the threat is impacting commercial traffic.
15% of commercial traffic is going through that strait every single day. 30% of the world's container ships. We're seeing international repercussions for these attacks.
U.S. officials say Iran continues to supply Houthi rebels with weapons and intelligence, releasing photos of these Iranian missile parts headed to the rebels in Yemen. The weapons intercepted when the U.S. Navy spotted a suspicious boat in the Gulf of Aden and sent in a team of U.S. Navy SEALs. They confiscated the missile parts, but not before 2 U.S. Navy SEALs ended up in the rough waters. They are both still missing. The tension with Iran also playing out on land. U.S. officials say Iran launched multiple ballistic missiles into northern Iraq overnight. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard claiming they targeted a spy base for Israel's intelligence agency Mossad in the region. U.S. officials not confirming that, saying U.S. military and diplomatic facilities were not impacted and that civilians, including children, were killed in the missile attack. sparking protests in the streets in Erbil, the White House condemning the attacks as reckless and imprecise.
The Biden administration is expected to announce the redesignation of the Houthis as a foreign terror organization as early as Wednesday. It was actually President Biden who took the Houthis off that foreign terror organization list earlier in his term, amidst concerns that it was having an impact on the already devastating humanitarian situation in Yemen. Back to you.
All right, Courtney, thank you. More international news now. Dozens of people are facing several charges after the discovery of mass graves last year in Kenya. NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavanga has that and other world headlines. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. On Tuesday, prosecutors in Kenya have charged 95 members of a doomsday cult with murder over the death of more than 400 people. Now, members of the cult in the southeast of Kenya came under investigation after police rescued 15 emaciated parishioners from the church. They told investigators the church's leader, Paul Mackenzie, had instructed them to fast to death before the world ends so they could meet Jesus. Authorities then searched the grounds near and around the church and found dozens of mass graves. Autopsies of some bodies showed starvation, strangulation, and suffocation. 95 members of the cult have been charged with murder, manslaughter, radicalization, cruelty, and child torture, among other crimes. Let's now go to London, where UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak suffered a major political setback after 60 members of his Conservative Party joined a rebellion over plans to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. Sunak's controversial proposal to deport illegal migrants to the African country has split his party among those who worry the policy is too extreme and those who think the plan doesn't go far enough in deterring migration to the UK. The biggest test for the Prime Minister will come today when lawmakers vote on the bill. Should the bill be rejected, it will be a major blow to Sunak's authority. And let's end this tour of the world in Portugal, where the Guinness World Records has temporarily stripped a Portuguese dog of the title of the oldest dog in the world after experts questioned the legitimacy of his age. The dog, called Bobby, was awarded the title in February last year after he allegedly died at the age of 31. But a few months later, the Portuguese government's pet database said the Guinness World Records did not contact them to verify the information. Now, several veterinarians and canine professionals are scrutinizing Bobby's true age to make sure he actually deserves the title. Back to you.
I have no idea how they prove that. It's not like, unless he had like a birth certificate or something 31 years ago, but we'll see what happens. All right, Claudia, thank you so much. Coming up, a family vacation gone horribly wrong. Now a 10-year-old boy is recovering from a shark attack at a popular Bahamas resort. The investigation that's now underway. And parents, some news you can use. A new study shows your face could help influence others to eat their vegetables. We're going to break down the findings in our weekly checkup next on Morning News Now. Back with frightening details about a shark attack in the Bahamas. A 10-year-old boy is recovering after officials say he was attacked while inside a shark tank at a popular resort. Police are now investigating how this all unfolded. NBC News correspondent Emily Ikeda has the details.
The limited details provided by police, they say the boy is in stable condition, but we spoke overnight with a couple who says they were in the tank with the child when he was attacked, detailing how a fun time quickly took a terrifying turn.
It's one of the top destinations for visitors to the Bahamas. But this morning, a 10-year-old Maryland boy is recovering after what witnesses say was a terrifying experience at the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island. Police not saying where the attack happened, but did confirm a shark bit the boy on his right leg while he was participating in an expedition in a shark tank.
We saw the shark like hone in on him, and then just like a pool of blood afterwards.
Michael and Tori Massey say they were in the tank when it happened, taking part in an underwater encounter called Walking with the Sharks, run by an outside company and seen in this Atlantis promotional video. It's described on the resort's website as easy and fun, with no swimming experience necessary, allowing visitors to see Caribbean reef sharks and nurse sharks up close. The Massey say the experience started out fine, with guides leading them into the tank, which seemed serene and peaceful at first.
Once the little boy came down, it just kind of like took like a dark turn.
They say after one of the sharks bit the boy, everyone rushed out of the water, while the screaming child and his parents were taken to a nursing station. NBC News reached out to both the Atlantis Resort and Blue Adventures by Stewart Cove, the company that runs the Shark Tank experience, and has not heard back.
I'm a little surprised that there haven't been more of these accidents.
Shark expert Gavin Naylor with the Florida Museum says attacks in the wild are incredibly rare, but in a tank where sharks are more restricted, they could be more aggressive when stressed.
People should remember that these are not pets. They're not trainable. These are wild animals that are contained in aquarium.
The Masseys, now back from the Bahamas, say they signed a waiver and knew there were risks going into the tank, but they believe more should have been done to protect everyone involved.
They felt this child and his family.
Promotions for Walking with the Sharks were removed from the Atlantis website after this incident took place. Police say there are investigations underway. And again, the 10-year-old boy is in stable condition. We also reached out to the U.S. Embassy, but have not heard back. Back to you.
All right, Emily, thank you so much. Time now for our weekly medical checkup. An alarming new report this morning is shedding light on the rising rates of colorectal cancer deaths. Plus, we're taking a closer look at the power of facial expressions. We'll break down how it could impact our desire to eat vegetables. I'm skeptical. All right, NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar is here to break down the headlines and more. Let's start with a pretty serious one. The American Cancer Society released a new report. It says colorectal cancer is now the leading cause of cancer death in men under 50, second leading cause of cancer death in women under 50. Why is that happening?
This is another nail in the coffin for colorectal cancer. We talk about it a lot, Joe, in the news the last couple of years about the rise of early onset cancers, and particularly colorectal cancer. Encouragingly, overall rates of cancer deaths have declined, but this particular cancer type, as well as others in younger people, this is a real issue. A couple of years ago, the American Cancer Society lowered the age recommendation for screening from 50 to 45. A lot of experts are saying that might not be low enough, right? I think always news you can use for people out there. Obviously, if you're having symptoms, change in bowel movements, rectal bleeding, family history, incredibly important. You should start screening 10 years lower than the age of a family member who developed colorectal cancer. But definitely something, if you're concerned about, talk to your docs about getting screened. The issue is that insurance won't cover unless you have a symptom or a reason under the age of 45. Okay. But I can see this, maybe potentially changing recommendations in the next few years, Joe.
It feels like just the evidence overwhelmingly shows us we got to start screening
45
younger
might
here.
just not be young enough.
All right, let's, on a lighter note here, researchers in the UK studied if the facial expressions of people eating vegetables could convince other people to eat them too. My face right now is skeptical. Full disclosure, I'm not a big vegetable person.
I know, we talk about you and your vegetables a lot.
But I can tell you, no one's face is convincing me to eat them.
I know. Well, so the research shows that people will imitate positive behavior, and they will also be less likely to do things if someone is, has a look of disgust or don't do something. So what they did in this study, they took about 200 young women and they had them watch video clips of people eating raw broccoli with a smiling face, a neutral face, or a face of disgust. And what they found was that the face of disgust did in fact translate into people being less likely to want it and to eat it. But the converse wasn't true, which means that if you try to eat raw broccoli in front of your kid, it's not going to make them want to eat raw broccoli more, which I think is funny. So there, to your skepticism, what were you going to say?
No, the happiest facial expression in the world
would make you want to eat raw broccoli.
Never eat broccoli. It is not happening.
In spite of this, my doctor's orders are don't have a negative face when you're eating healthy foods that you want your kids to eat.
Yes.
And maybe try to stay neutral when you're trying new foods to avoid, like the urge to take something and go, try to stay neutral, but I don't think a smiling face is going to help your kid eat more broccoli.
Real quickly, let's get one more headline here. If anyone was thinking of using cannabis as a treatment for opioid addiction, they probably want to think again.
This is a really important one. The relationship between cannabis and opioids, really important for healthcare providers to be able to make evidence-based recommendations on this. This study was looking at two things. One, if using cannabis actually is a gateway to using opioids illicitly, they found that that was not the case. And this is really important because right now, groups that are taking care of patients who have opioid use disorder required that they don't use cannabis in order to prescribe like buprenorphine and things like that. We don't think that they need to do that anymore. And then the other question is, if you use cannabis, are you going to use less opioids? And this study didn't actually see that that happened.
Okay.
So my doctor's orders are this: if cannabis is helping you, even though you're still maybe using opioids for pain, please continue to use so, and definitely work with a medical provider. This is of utmost important. Don't self-medicate with cannabis, rather to get medical marijuana prescribed by a doc.
Very important. Dr. Azar, my facial expression shows I'm happy that you are here.
Wonderful.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Coming up, a roadblock for a major airline merger. Up next, the ruling by a judge that's putting a deal between JetBlue and Spirit up in the air. You're watching Morning News Now. We're back with financial headlines. Amazon is launching a new AI shopping tool that can answer your questions about products. CNBC's Bertha Coombs has that and other news that could impact your wallet. Bertha, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. That's right. Amazon testing a generative AI tool. Generative AI is like ChatGPT, where it just kind of can riff on things. It's going to let shoppers ask questions about specific products. The feature could help customers, for example, avoid having to scroll through pages or reviews or read through a listing to find the information that they specifically want. In an email to CNBC, Amazon says it's been experimenting with AI to summarize reviews and help sellers with tools such as AI-generated images for ads. Meantime, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT, says that the night that he was fired by the board of OpenAI was, quote, wild, and he was, quote, super caught off guard. Altman, the co-founder of the company behind ChatGPT, spoke at a private gathering yesterday at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He says it wasn't until some board members called him the next day that he even thought about coming back, as Altman has no real ownership of the company. He was reinstalled as CEO days after being ousted, as nearly all of the employees said that they would resign if he didn't return. And Costco, well, it's making it harder for people to share cards. It's testing scanners at the entrance to its stores to keep out non-members. The company confirming to USA Today that several locations are already scanning membership cards in what it calls an effort to improve their experience. Previously, members only had to flash their card at the entrance, and then their card and ID were scanned at checkout. Costco's chief financial officer tells CNN that the new procedure will speed up the process at entry and checkout. Memberships are key to Costco's business model. The retailer generated $4.6 billion in membership fees from nearly 128 million members last year. I haven't been to a Costco in a million years, but apparently they still have $1 hot dogs.
Yeah, oh, they do. The hot dogs are amazing.
They're
That's
so
like the best
good.
part. And I do definitely think people like sneak in. So, all right, Bertha, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, now some major airline news. A judge has ruled against the merger between JetBlue and Spirit, saying the deal would reduce competition.
The decision is a big win for the Biden administration, which sued to stop the merger. It said the deal would drive up fares for some of the most price-sensitive customers. JetBlue and Spirit responded to the ruling saying, quote, we continue to believe that our combination is the best opportunity to increase much-needed competition and choice, bringing low fares and great service to more customers in more markets, while enhancing our ability to compete with the dominant U.S. carriers.
Joining us now for more on this is CNBC airline reporter Leslie Josephs. Good to have you with us. So, I mean, this would have produced the 5th largest airline. Spirit and JetBlue argue they need this to compete against the Deltas and Uniteds of the world. Do they have options now after this judge's decision?
That's a great question. I think that JetBlue is trying to figure that out. JetBlue is kind of having, they're 24 years old. They're having this kind of quarter-life crisis. Like, what are they? Are they low cost? They're trying to put in, more business class, and they're kind of trying to be the same thing for all people and cater to the low cost market, and also for people that want to pay $2,000 plus for a flight to LA. So Spirit Airlines, on the other hand, is kind of synonymous with budget travel in the United States, and the judge saw that and said, no way, you're not taking this player out of the market.
So as we mentioned, this is this big win for the Biden administration. How are they responding?
They're cheering the decision in this. Of course, they've had mixed results with blocking mergers and acquisitions. They've gone into everything from mergers in the healthcare industry, the sugar industry, airlines, and this is a very big win. You know, airlines are very high profile, very consumer focused companies. So this is a very high profile win for the Biden administration.
I know we have a statement from, I believe, Attorney General Merrick Garland. We can read, today's ruling is a victory for tens of millions of travelers who would have faced higher fares and fewer choices had the proposed merger between JetBlue and Spirit been allowed to move forward. The Justice Department will continue to vigorously enforce the nation's antitrust laws to protect American consumers. We know Spirit had been struggling prior to the deal, so what could happen now to this company? What could be the impact for its customers who maybe do rely on these lower fares?
That's another great question, and I think Spirit and JetBlue are trying to figure out where they go. Neither of them are profitable, and they're trying to return to profitability right now. Spirit has its own issues, some shared by JetBlue, that they have some engine recalls, so that's grounding some of their planes this year. So they are in some financial trouble in that sense. Doesn't mean that Spirit is going away tomorrow or anything like that, but Spirit does have to kind of think about what its future is. You know, how is it going to service its debt? You know, they have some debt due in September 2025, so they have a little bit of time, but not that much time. You know, we're going to blink and it's going to be September 2025. So that is a big question for Spirit kind of going forward, but as of now, it's kind of business as usual. Domestic demand, where Spirit is focused, has softened a little bit. Now a lot of markets after the pandemic have opened up and they have a lot of competition. You know, people want to go to Japan and Europe and all these other places that they couldn't go to in 2020 and 2021 and even 2022. So there is a lot more competition for travel right now, and that's a question for both airlines going forward.
All right, Leslie Josephs, good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, low temps and low batteries.
Up next, why the bitter cold blanketing much of the country is driving a big problem for electric cars. This is Morning News Now.
Welcome back. If you can't wait until music festival season, good news. The lineups for a couple of events have just been released. Coachella's organizers announced Lana Del Rey, Tyler, the Creator, and Doja Cat will be headlining this year's music festival, which of course takes place at the Empire Polo Club in Indio, California in April. Other artists on the list include Mexican music superstar Peso Pluma and Ice Spice. Then in June, the Governor's Ball Music Festival will return to Flushing Meadows, Corona Park here in New York. There, SZA, Post Malone, and The Killers will be headlining. Peso Pluma, he's going to be busy. He's also going to be performing there, along with Carly Rae Jepsen and Mean Girls star Renee Rapp. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. So if you're planning on a festival this summer, now you know who you can listen to.
I used to be all about Coachella. I don't know anymore.
It's a lot.
I
it
think
feels
I'm
like
aging out.
a stressful thing to get in and out, but that's just me.
But it is a great lineup, so that's very exciting. Thanks, Joe. All right, we end the hour with another consequence of that cold weather many of us have been experiencing. The frigid temperatures have been creating problems for electric vehicles. It's causing charging stations to stop working. Charlie Warjahusky from our affiliate station in Chicago takes us through some tips to help keep your electric vehicle running.
In Evergreen Park, it is a line filled with frustration.
I've been waiting about, 3 hours?
EV drivers almost out of charge, waiting to plug their cars in.
You have to come up here, wait 2 hours to get on the charger. They tell you the chargers are fast. It takes 2 hours to charge your car.
That is, if you get there. Some EVs ran out of juice and had to be towed away. It started over the weekend and continues today. EV drivers learning the hard way that their cars don't go as far as they usually do when the temperatures are below zero.
I think EV owners are discovering for the first time that it's what gas car owners knew decades ago, that when it gets really cold, you don't want to get too low on your power supply.
In Norway, where half of new cars are electric vehicles, the Norwegian Automobile Federation found that EVs lose about 20% of their driving range in the cold. The AAA found that percentage could more than double if the heater was on full blast.
When it comes to holding their charge, not all EVs are created equal.
Research firm Recurrent found that the Chevy Bolt lost about a third of its range in freezing temperatures. The BMW i3 fared slightly better. The Tesla Model S only lost 4% of its range. The Hyundai Kona also did well in the cold and added range when it was warm outside. Carfax editor Patrick Olson says if you have an EV, it's crucial to have a home charger. If you're traveling,
plan ahead, make sure you know where your level 2 and in some cases level 3 chargers are so that you can get there.
Gary Green says when it comes time to change cars, the next one won't be electric.
I rent this through Uber, and I'm really going to take this back and see if they got gas cars.
Our thanks to Charlie Wojciechowski for that report, something we may see more of as we kind of learn and get used to having more and more EVs on the road, the things we have to get used to.
All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Developing right now on Morning News Now, Mother Nature's icy grip taking hold of nearly 100 million Americans this morning. The positively frigid temps negatively impacting houses, roads, and schools from Colorado to Chicago and beyond. And get this, there's more where that came from. We've got your full forecast as you head out the door into that deep freeze. And with Iowa now in the rear view, next up is battleground New Hampshire. With less than a week until the state's primaries, the top GOP contenders wasting no time appealing to voters there. But can either Florida Governor Ron DeSantis or former Ambassador Nikki Haley pull off an upset in the Granite State against the front-running former president? We'll bring you the state of play in a moment. We're also following some new developments in those Gilgo Beach killings. A fourth murder charge now filed against the suspect. The new DNA evidence that's shaking up the case. Plus, later in the hour, if you're looking for an alternative to those popular weight loss drugs like Ozempic, you might turn to social media for tips on how to slim down fast, but experts are sounding the alarm, saying a lot of those popular methods are doing more harm than good. Savannah will bring us that story. We'll also have a doctor joining us to delve into it a little bit deeper.
Absolutely, that's right. It's definitely a warning, especially for parents, to keep an eye on their kids for. Make sure young people aren't doing this.
Exactly. All right, we're going to begin this morning with that dangerous cold. Millions of Americans facing frigid temperatures and wind chill alerts.
Yeah, it's all as more harsh winter weather is on the way. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa joins us from St. Louis with the very latest. Hi, Maggie. Good morning.
Hey, Savannah, Joe, good morning. Yeah, I can confirm once again, it is absolutely terrible out here. St. Louis, one of so many cities across the country, as you just pointed out, waking up to brutal conditions. This morning, the wind chill, -1, and you can definitely feel it. It is absolutely painful. And meantime, a grim update across the country. Authorities across the U.S. now confirming 12 weather-related deaths as a result of this system. That includes 5 that were confirmed yesterday in Tennessee. Just again, a grim reality, bringing this storm's devastating strength into clearer focus.
This morning, dangerous temperatures, maintaining an icy grip on the country.
I ain't never felt nothing like this.
95 million Americans remain under wind chill alerts from the Great Plains through the Tennessee Valley. Trees in Texas frozen solid, while parts of Pennsylvania are buried in snow.
Oh, man, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here.
Roads slick with ice, creating a hazardous mess across the country, from Colorado to Alabama, where this semi-truck lost control. The frigid winter blast wreaking havoc on air travel, too. More than 2,400 flights were flat out canceled Tuesday, with another 9,000 delayed. The sub-zero wind chills bursting pipes at this Missouri apartment complex, displacing 200 people.
This is bad. On a day so cold, this is really bad.
In Illinois, the brutal cold dulling batteries on electric vehicles.
It takes 2 hours to charge a car.
While in Missouri, a number of cars abandoned after sliding off the road. Over the weekend, a blizzard dumped more than 40 inches of snow on Buffalo. Now another lake effect snow event could drop 3 more feet on the hard-hit city. This as several East Coast cities, including New York, D.C., and Philly, saw over an inch of snowfall for the first time in nearly 2 years. Some celebrating an end to the snow drought.
We actually got rid of our sleds because we were like, it's never going to snow again here.
Perk for sure, by the way. And we talked during that piece about air travel yesterday. It was an absolute mess. I just checked the latest numbers. Already this morning, we have close to 1,000 delays nationwide and 800 cancellations. Obviously, it's early and those numbers could rise. So we'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, just guys, fingers crossed for a calmer day on that end as so many across the country prepare for more potentially severe winter weather. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Maggie, Vespa, we do appreciate it very much. Thanks for being out there.
Just how cold might it get in your area? Let's get your morning news now weather forecast.
Which means Angie Lastman's back. Hey, Angie.
Hey, good morning, guys. We are all inclusive with this cold weather. We've got folks along the Gulf Coast dealing with those really chilly temperatures, too. It's not just folks as the farther north you go. We've got, of course, the wind chill alert still in effect for a lot of people, more than 90 million people across the country, with these temperatures likely getting a little worse here as we go through at least the next couple of days with a reinforcing shot of some cold air. Here's the deal right now. These are current temperatures. Kansas City sitting at 15 degrees, but feeling like just 3 degrees. Little Rock feeling like 1 degree. We've got 13 below for what it feels like this morning as you get out the door in Chicago, and Minneapolis coming in at -9 for your wind chill. The farther west you go, places like Denver sitting into the 20s, but feeling like the low 20s. And as far south as places like Houston, it is feeling like the teens this morning. So some minor improvements over the next couple of days, but not by much. I mean, a couple of degrees, sure, will be helpful, I guess, but we're still going to be quite chilly and needing those extra layers as the days of this week go on. St. Louis tomorrow, 36 degrees. Cleveland makes it to the low 20s here as we get into the afternoon hours. And then here comes that reinforcing shot of cold air. You look to Thursday in Omaha into the teens. By Friday, we're in the single digits yet again. We've got 30s on tap for St. Louis. Wednesday, Thursday, by Friday, we're back into the teens. So some of that colder air is going to settle in and stick with us. And when you look at those morning wind chills, it's just downright brutal. Omaha will be 29 below for what it feels like as you get up and out the door on Saturday morning. Minneapolis, 16 below for your feels like temperature for your Saturday morning. And this just goes on and on even into the weekend. We look a little farther to the east and more of the same kind of story. 20s for Buffalo Thursday and Friday and back to the teens on Saturday. The winds not helping by any means. If you're walking outside Saturday or Sunday morning in New York, we will see temperatures feeling like 5 degrees. So bundle up. That's the best advice I have for you. And prepare if you live in the Pacific Northwest or really the Rockies, especially the Northern Rockies, the Cascades. We've got another winter storm that's going to work its way across that region, already dumping some snow, a little bit of rain, dealing with some ice for folks there, and not to mention some windy conditions too. Here's the system that we're watching through the day today. As we get into tomorrow, most of that snow will start to work into portions of the plains. We do see a little bit of rain and kind of a wintry mix across portions of the southeast, and a new low pressure system will emerge in that region and then kind of push all of that snow and wintry mess up into portions of the mid-Atlantic and the Midwest. The Northeast will pick up a little snow as well. We're not looking at crazy amounts of snow by any means for most of those major cities, places like New York, Washington, D.C., maybe an inch or two, but still impactful nonetheless, especially considering that the ground is cold, so the snow will stick. And if we have any of that wintry mix, we know how icy it gets, guys. So travel will be difficult likely as we round out the week.
Even just last night, I was walking on a
surface. The shuffle? Yeah,
no, it's bad here.
I almost slipped, and I was like, okay, that's it. I want summer now.
There's got to be a name for it, like the winter shuffle. Yeah. I don't know.
Exactly.
Not a dance.
We need more salt.
It's a transportation.
Thanks, Angie. Now let's get to the race for the White House, where the focus has shifted to New Hampshire. We're less than a week away from a crucial primary for the 3 remaining Republican candidates vying for the party's nomination. And coming off a disappointing 3rd place in Iowa, Nikki Haley is looking to bridge the gap between her and frontrunner Donald Trump. NBC's Garrett Haake joins us now from Manchester, New Hampshire with the latest on the state of this race. Hey, Garrett, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. Yeah, the pace and intensity is certainly picking up here in New Hampshire now that we have Iowa in the rearview mirror. Former President Trump arriving here last night, buoyed by big crowds after that dominant win in Iowa. And now he's facing 2 challengers here with 2 vastly different strategies to try to catch up.
We now have our eyes on a very special place. You know what that place is? New Hampshire.
It's game on in the Granite State, with Donald Trump slamming Nikki Haley in his first rally since his dominating Iowa win.
As you know, Nikki Haley in particular is counting on the Democrats and liberals to infiltrate your Republican primary.
The former president joined for the first time by former rival Vivek Ramaswamy, who dropped out of the race after finishing 4th in Iowa.
I would endorse Donald J. Trump for president of the United States.
Mr. Trump arriving in New Hampshire after spending the day in court in New York City, attending jury selection in the 2nd defamation case filed against him by writer E. Jean Carroll, in which he denies any wrongdoing. Mr. Trump was found civilly liable last year for sexually abusing her in the 90s and later defaming Carroll. With New Hampshire's first-in-the-nation primary now less than a week away, and the next major contest in South Carolina a month later, Mr. Trump's remaining rivals trying different strategies to gain ground on him.
We're putting Iowa in the rearview mirror.
In New Hampshire, Nikki Haley, trailing Trump narrowly in some state polls, appearing with the state's popular GOP governor, casting the race here as a two-person showdown between her and the former president.
We have to leave the negativity and the baggage behind and go forward with new solutions for the future.
While Ron DeSantis, who finished a distant second in Iowa, took his campaign to South Carolina Tuesday, a state where Trump has led in polls and where Haley served as governor.
Haley, look, she was governor here for 6 years. Can you name major achievements under her tenure?
All while President Biden mocked the GOP field overnight.
I'm still the only person to ever beat Donald Trump, and I'm looking forward to do it again for the good of this country.
If there's going to be a two-candidate showdown here, it won't be on the debate stage. ABC canceling their debate yesterday after Nikki Haley said she wouldn't participate unless Donald Trump does. Well, Trump is continuing his boycott of these primary campaign debates, which means we may have seen these candidates on the stage together for the last time, guys.
All right, Garrett Hake, stay warm out there. Thanks so much.
Federal prosecutors are pushing back against recent efforts by Hunter Biden's attorneys to dismiss the federal gun charges filed against him.
Attorneys for the president's son asked for the charge to be dismissed for what is known as selective and vindictive prosecution, a claim prosecutors say is meritless. You might remember last month, Hunter Biden's attorney asked the federal judge overseeing the case to dismiss the criminal charges against him, arguing that an earlier agreement with prosecutors gives him immunity.
For more, we're joined by civil rights attorney and former prosecutor, NBC News legal analyst Kristen Gibbons-Fedden. Good to have you with us, Kristen. So let's start with Hunter Biden's attorneys. What are they arguing here? Is it a strong argument?
Well, Hunter Biden's defense team is really arguing that the case should be dismissed, really due, as you mentioned, to selective and vindictive prosecution, specifically claiming that the indictment by the grand jury in September was influenced by political affiliation, specifically his connection to his father, President Joe Biden. But Hunter Biden's legal team asserts that selective prosecution was driven by that improper political purpose. You know, in order to support a selective prosecution claim, Biden's team really needs to prove the discriminatory effect or unfair targeting and its discriminatory purpose, or in this case, an intent to target due to political ties. And what the prosecution is basically saying is there's no evidence to support that. There's no evidence of actual vindictiveness. There's no evidence of a discriminatory purpose or effect or unfair targeting. And I have to kind of agree, there's no real evidence that Biden's team has really specifically pointed to that would really show that the DOJ exercised vindictive response when they were putting forth these charges.
As we mentioned, prosecutors called the claims by Hunter Biden's attorneys meritless, saying the charges were, quote, a result of the defendant's own choices. Where do things go from here? You know, kind of having laid out both of these sides now, what will you be watching for?
Well, as the prosecution kind of put in their pleading, they really emphasized the electronic messages between Hunter Biden and his girlfriend. They pointed out admissions by Hunter Biden in his book and the forensic tests that actually confirmed the presence of cocaine on the gun that they ultimately found and found to be linked to Biden. So what I'm going to be looking for is the defense, if they do lose this motion to dismiss, to file a suppression motion. And basically what they would be asking for is, hey, judge, you didn't dismiss the case, but please don't allow the prosecution to use these text messages, to use this forensic test, or use any of Hunter Biden's prior admissions for some legal purpose, because we don't want it being used in the trial. So I'm going to look for those suppression motions, but ultimately, if they're not granted, I'm going to look for some type of plea agreement or trial.
All right, Kristen Gibbons-Fedden, thanks for joining us this morning. As always, appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, this morning we are following new developments of a new deal between Israel and Hamas. Israel will allow much-needed aid into Gaza for Palestinians in exchange for Hamas delivering medication to Israeli hostages. The agreement comes amid new flare-ups of violence in other parts of the Middle East. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Three U.S. officials tell NBC News the Biden administration is getting ready to designate the Houthi rebels in Yemen as a terrorist organization. The Houthis were previously on the terror list, but the White House preparing to put them back on as they continue their attacks against cargo ships.
This morning, conflict in the Middle East continuing to flare up far beyond Israel and Gaza. New strikes by American forces against Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, who are stepping up attacks in the Red Sea, threatening global shipping. U.S. Central Command says it destroyed 4 Houthi missiles that were ready for launch and posed an imminent threat to both merchant and U.S. Navy ships.
This goes way beyond being a regional challenge. This is a global challenge.
In Gaza, Israel says it's scaling back its assault against Hamas after 3 months of war, but launching ground and air strikes on the city of Han Yunis, where thousands are sheltering. Israel also announcing a diplomatic breakthrough, Hamas allowing medicine to finally be delivered to the hostages. In exchange, Israel letting more medical supplies into Gaza for Palestinian civilians.
Playful and joyful.
The hostages missing milestones every day. Shahar was born 5 weeks ago with curious eyes and 2 older sisters who adore her. But she's missing one thing. Her father, Sagi Dekelhen, is one of 6 American hostages still being held in Gaza. His wife, 7 months pregnant on October 7th, giving birth without him. Sagi has never held his baby girl, doesn't know her name, which means dawn in Hebrew, or even that his family survived the attack.
If you could speak to him, what would you tell him about his new daughter?
I would say that she is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. There will come a time when he is going to enter a room somewhere, 2 little girls are going to leap into his arms, and his wife and his new baby are going to hug him and never let him go.
And one thing we hear again and again from the families of the hostages is they're afraid the world is going to move on. And so they have built this replica of a Hamas tunnel right in the middle of Tel Aviv, trying to keep the world's focus on their loved ones and make sure they're not forgotten. Back to you.
All right, Raf Sanchez, thank you so much.
We're learning new details about a 4th murder charge against Gilgo Beach murder suspect Rex Heuermann that he's now facing. He has pleaded not guilty to the new charges. As NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa explains, investigators say DNA found on an energy drink discarded by the suspect's daughter helped authorities tie Heuermann to the murders.
The accused Gilgo Beach serial killer back in court and facing another murder charge now in the death of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, marking the last of the so-called Gilgo 4, sex workers allegedly killed by Rex Heuermann and later found near a desolate Long Island beach in 2010.
I was only 7 years old when my mother was murdered.
Brainerd Barnes' daughter speaking out for the first time.
The indictment by the grand jury has brought hope for justice.
The Suffolk County District Attorney says his office had been waiting for the results of cutting-edge nuclear DNA testing that shows a hair at the crime scene belonged to Heuermann's now estranged wife. Investigators got samples of Asa Ellerup's and her daughter's DNA through cans thrown out at their home and near a train station after trailing the daughter. The DA says both were out of town during all 4 of the killings.
Nuclear DNA existed in the hair since they were first recovered in 2010. And now the science has caught up.
But the suspected killer's attorney is calling that evidence problematic and says Heuermann maintains his innocence.
All along, we've been told there's no nuclear DNA. And now, for the first time, 13 years later, what was once unsuitable is now nuclear capable. We're going to have to look into that.
New court documents also detail how Heuermann used burner cell phones to contact sex workers as recently as last year and searched for updates on the investigation, including sister reveals more about Maureen Brainerd Barnes' mysterious disappearance. More than 16 years since that disappearance, Brainerd Barnes' family's pain still palpable.
Losing Maureen has become a wound that never truly heals. It remains a part of me.
That was Emily Aketa reporting. In all, 11 bodies were found near Ocean Parkway, and the DA says they're investigating a number of the victims. Prosecutors are still combing through thousands of documents recovered from storage units. We got much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including another volcanic eruption in Iceland, now forcing thousands in the country to evacuate. Why experts say even more danger could be on the way. We're going to take you there.
First, though, the post office scandal that's rocking Britain this morning, and the new TV show that's bringing justice to its victims decades later. Those stories and more next. We are back with a major story we first covered back in November during Thanksgiving break and amid the ongoing war in Gaza. 3 students of Palestinian descent were shot and seriously injured in Vermont, while a suspect was arrested and authorities began investigating the incident as a possible hate crime. 2 of the students, one of whom is now paralyzed from the chest down, spoke exclusively with NBC News Now's Tom Yamas about their experience. Here is a part of that interview.
Talk to me about the night. What do you guys remember right before this happened?
Tahsin and I were both wearing the kufiya, like the traditional Palestinian headscarf, for a variety of reasons. Practically because it was really cold, but on a more meaningful sense, it's because that we felt as Palestinians during this time period, it's important for us to show our identity and to show that we exist and that we're human. Just walking along the street, this man comes down the porch, approaches us, pulls out a pistol, I just remember gunshots and falling down.
Did you know you were shot?
I didn't quite process the fact until I looked at my phone and I saw my phone had blood on it. I was like, oh, I'd been shot.
Was your mind sort of comprehending this is happening in Burlington, Vermont to me?
Not that I'd always expected something like this to happen, but something like this, growing up in Palestine, this was something that I'd always thought was possible.
But did you think it happened here?
Not really, no. I definitely expected it would happen to me in the West Bank in Palestine, but not in Vermont.
And you can watch Tom's full interview later tonight on Nightly News at 6:30 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. on Top Story. That is right here on NBC News Now. Let's get more international news, starting with the latest on a new security deal between France and Ukraine.
NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavanga has details on that and other news from around the world. Claudio, good morning.
Joe Savannah, good morning. That's right. On Tuesday, French President Emmanuel Macron said that he plans to sign a bilateral security agreement with Kyiv when he will be in Ukraine next month. Now, during a press conference in Paris, Macron said, and I quote, that France will continue to help Ukraine to hold the front line and protect its skies. Macron also announced the delivery of 40 long-range missiles and several hundred bombs to Ukraine in the coming weeks. The announcement comes days after the UK signed its own bilateral deal with Ukraine, which includes more than $3 billion in military aid. Other European partners are also under pressure to continue support militarily Ukraine as Russia continues to attack and intensifies the attacks. Let's now go to China, where the government said the population dropped by more than 2 million people in 2023. This is the second consecutive annual decrease in the population, caused by a drop in the number of births and a spike in the number of deaths. Experts say the sharp rise in deaths followed the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions. According to the United Nations, China, long the most populated country in the world, dropped into second place behind India in 2023. And let's end this tour of the world at Oxford University, where researchers are using crash test dummy models of hedgehogs to assess whether robotic lawnmowers are a danger to them in real life. The 3D rubbery plastic models resemble the shape and spikes of the hedgehogs and will help lawnmowers manufacturers to produce hedgehog-safe products. The team of researchers was led by Dr. Sophie Lund Rasmussen, known on social media as, well, guess what? Dr. Hedgehog, of course. Back to you guys.
Wow.
It's a study for everything.
Such a specific concern.
It is very much so. Sonic the Hedgehog would be happy to hear this, though.
Very kind of them. Claudio, thank you so much.
Now to the UK, where victims of a 20-year-old scandal are finally getting some justice thanks to a TV show. In the early 2000s, more than 700 post office managers and owners were falsely convicted of stealing money from their branches after a software malfunction. Well, now a new TV drama based on the scandal is helping to bring it all to light. NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald has that story.
This is one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in our nation's history.
It's a scandal
scandal that rocked a nation and shattered lives.
People who worked hard to serve their communities had their lives and their reputations destroyed through absolutely no fault of their own.
From 2000 to 2005, more than 700 post office managers and owners across the United Kingdom were falsely convicted of stealing money from their branches or falsifying account records. Over 2,000 people were affected, some serving time in prison, others left bankrupted or homeless, and at least 4 taking their own lives. Fujitsu, the Japanese IT company behind the faulty accounting system, took responsibility for the problem in front of the British Parliament, saying today they have a moral obligation to fix their wrongdoings.
We were involved from the very start. We did have bugs and errors in the system, and we did help the post office in their prosecutions of the sub-postmasters.
According to its chief executive, the post office has put aside roughly $1 billion for compensation and is working towards replacing Fujitsu's system.
It's gone on for far too long. People are suffering, they're dying, we're losing numbers along the way.
Alan Bates is one of the thousands of people whose lives were turned upside down because of the scandal.
This money is only what they're owed. This is money that to put them back in a position that they would have been in had Post Office not done what they did to them.
His story has caught the attention of millions across the UK thanks to the new TV drama, Mr. Bates versus the Post Office.
That was a lie, actually. We are fighting a war against an enemy owned by the British government, while we're just skint little people.
Bates is played by actor Toby Jones. The series chronicles his efforts over the last 20 years, trying to expose Fujitsu so he can clear his name and the names of his colleagues. The highly rated show is being credited for pushing politicians to finally act.
It's frustrating, but I'm glad it's happened. At least it enables them to now understand, and a broader audience understand what's happening or been happening to some postmasters.
Fujitsu pulls in about $27 billion each year and is currently locked into several contracts with the British government, including its interior, foreign, and environmental ministries. Some members of parliament are pushing to re-examine those agreements. But Alan Bates believes the responsibility isn't just on Fujitsu.
People in jobs of, high responsibility, they're not being held to account at the end of the day. And this, I'm hoping, in this particular instance, that people are held to account.
Even though lives were shattered, he's hoping victims who survived the trauma get the justice they deserve. Megan Fitzgerald, NBC News, London.
Well, Iceland is dealing with its second major volcanic eruption in less than a month. The latest eruption is threatening a fishing village. Thousands were forced to evacuate, and now officials are warning that the danger isn't over yet. NBC News foreign correspondent Matt Bradley has the details.
The residents of this fishing town in Iceland on high alert after a volcanic eruption in the southwest part of the country threatened to engulf the village. Officials in the town of Grindavik evacuating around 4,000 residents over the weekend as rivers of lava encroached onto the village and began setting homes ablaze. The volcano erupting just 30 miles from the capital Reykjavik and just 4 miles from the Blue Lagoon, a popular tourist destination. So far, no injuries reported, but some evacuated residents still losing everything. This man was nearly finished building his new home, saying, "I had intended to move into the house before Christmas, the same house I watched burn down on live TV." Feeling helpless as they watch the destruction unfold from afar.
I'm born in this town. I actually live in the house that I'm born in. And it's a tough thought to think that this town might be over and I would have to start all over somewhere else. But if that's the case, then that's exactly what we'll do.
But as this round of eruptions ease, officials warn of more dangers to come.
What is certain is that we will have more periods of activity on the peninsula, and the whole area is sort of in a stage of great uncertainty.
It's the second eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula in just 4 weeks, and the fifth since 2021. as traumatic events like these threaten to become Iceland's new normal.
Matt Bradley, thanks for that report. Well, as Matt said earlier, the popular tourist destination, the Blue Lagoon, that's just a short distance away from the volcano. It had reopened to the public a few days ago after closing due to last month's eruption. Well, it is now closed again, and there is concern that these seismic events could have some impact on Iceland's tourism industry.
Coming up, weight loss worries for those seeking alternatives to widely used drugs like Ozempic.
After the break, I'm taking a closer look at some pretty dangerous trends on social media aimed at people looking to get thin quick. And we'll tell you what medical experts are saying. The doctor is in next. We're back with a new warning from the FBI about the rise in an online scheme that targets teens and young adults.
It's called financially motivated sextortion, and the FBI says predators are blackmailing victims, demanding money, or they'll threaten to release sexually explicit photos. NBC News terrorism analyst Jim Kavanaugh joins us now for more on this. He's also a retired ATF special agent in charge and former hostage negotiator. So, Jim, most people know about traditional sextortion that happens when a predator blackmails their victim. The FBI says financially motivated sextortion is now a growing problem. So what exactly is that? How do these schemes work?
Well, Joe and Savannah, good morning. And what this does is it targets minors generally, and it's a worldwide problem. Nations have banded together to try to stop it. What the scheme is someone, male, scammer usually, in a place far away from the teenage victim, pretends to be a teenage girl and tries to friend the victim online, make them their buddy. The goal is to get the teenage victim to send explicit photographs, naked photographs, sexual photographs of themselves, and then they will start demanding payment, or they'll put the photographs out on the internet as public. So that's the overall scheme, to gain money. It's a greed scheme, and it's blackmail. We're going to destroy you with these explicit photographs.
How can parents, teens themselves, young adults, spot potential predator profiles online, and in what types of places are these predators reaching out to young people?
Right. Well, they know exactly where to go, Savannah. They know where the teenagers hang out online. They know all those webs that they frequent, and that's what they target. The first thing you should tell your teenager, and a lot of the victims in this are boys, is, look, if you haven't actually met the person in person, then, it's probably a scam. Teenage girls normally are not asking for naked photographs of you. Has any teenage girl in your school ever asked for naked photographs of you? That's not normal behavior. And you've never met this person. It's an online persona. So what they do is they start a dialogue, pretend they're a teenage girl, send pictures to you of a teenage girl that's not them. They're some 40-year-old guy sitting in a dirty bedroom somewhere, and they send photos of a teenage girl and eventually an explicit photo of a teenage girl. And then they'll say, I sent you my explicit photograph, now won't you send me your explicit photograph? Of course, once they get it, then they start demanding payment. And they're persistent, and very persistent. They want the money.
So if that happens, if parents, what should they do if their child or someone they know is being exploited? What are the best options?
Well, the first thing to tell the child is, look, you didn't do anything wrong here. This is a criminal scheme. So there's life after an image, even if it were to get released. So you need to take a deep breath. Then you need to not interact with the predator, but don't erase the communication because the law enforcement may need it. So don't erase it, but don't interact. And then go to law enforcement, go to an adult you trust, your parents and school administrators, call the police, call the FBI Cyber Crimes Unit, tell them what happened. They can work toward stopping it, breaking it. About half the time, maybe 45% of the time, these predators will release the pictures if they're not paid. But many times they don't. They move on to another victim. They don't even bother releasing the pictures because they want the money.
All right. Jim Kavanaugh. Jim, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Yeah, important warning there. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, as people try to stick to those New Year's weight loss resolutions, many people are considering using drugs like Ozempic, but not everyone is able to get them. Well, now there are growing concerns that some could turn to dangerous alternatives that you're seeing a lot of on social media, but doctors are sounding sounding the alarm, warning that some of those tips could be dangerous and that you should always consult your doctor before incorporating any new medicines into your daily life.
Advice on how to lose weight fast is all over social media.
You can lose 10 pounds in 30 days. I'm going to give you the best weight loss hack of all time.
Over 500,000 posts with the hashtag weight loss tips on TikTok alone.
3 tips to help you lose belly fat.
And new numbers show that using non-prescription weight loss products, such as laxatives, may be on the rise too. A new study finding that nearly 1 in 10 adolescents globally have used these types of products. And the trend seems more pervasive with girls than boys, as highlighted on social media.
Young people are exposed to social media, bullying, have a certain image that they want to keep. This kind of practice does not lead to sustainable weight loss and, in fact, can be dangerous.
Weight loss culture radically transformed recently thanks to the growing prevalence of drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. Prescriptions for these drugs and similar ones increased 300% between the beginning of 2020 and 2022, according to a report from Trilliant Health. But for some who can't access prescriptions,
what measures are people taking?
People are resorting back to, perhaps, unfortunately, what they used to do. And that may include using laxatives, which clearly aren't recommended and are, in fact, dangerous.
Other popular alternatives are hitting social media timelines too. Detox teas, even supplements like berberine, dubbed nature's Ozempic, which some users claim mimic the effects of weight loss drugs. Demand has also fueled a rise in counterfeit and off-market weight loss drugs. The FDA recently warning consumers against using these fake versions. A stark warning for those looking for a quick fix.
So we reached out to Bayer, who makes the laxative Miralax. They declined to comment at this time. We also reached out to Sanofi, who manufactures the laxative Dulcolax, who told us in part weight loss is not an approved use for Dulcolax products. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, always great to have you. So let's talk about this. I mean, using laxatives, these different types of things that we're seeing come across social media, what are the dangers to try to use those things off-label for weight loss?
Yeah, Savannah, when you use these things off-label, you run the risk of everything, including, unfortunately, depleting your body of the nutrients you actually do need in order to contain, just to live a daily healthy life, because laxatives really just draw water in and then push it out through the gut, so that you end up not just getting water out, which can give you some of that temporary weight loss, but all those valuable nutrients that you actually do need to keep in your body also go out with it too. This can result in something so severe, it can result in death, sepsis. It can ruin your normal gut health that we know we've talked about here, the kind of natural microbiome, the biology of your gut. All of these things can make weight loss in the long run very difficult. And what might seem tempting in the short run does not help in the long run. Laxatives are approved for use for certain conditions like constipation, but do not try to use them outside of this.
So the FDA is also warning people against using counterfeit Ozempic, something called compounded Ozempic. What do we know about those?
Yeah, Joe, there are about 7,500 compounding pharmacies. Compounding is a very legitimate practice. It's usually used for pharmacies use this in usually at 2 cases. One, when there's a shortage of a drug like Ozempic, or when there's a certain tweak to a medication that you need because of certain allergies. When you need to tailor a medication for an individual, that's the classic use for compounding and the right use for compounding. The manufacturer of Ozempic, Novo Nordisk, did not release any of their compounds to these compounding pharmacies. So the fear here, and the FDA's warning, is that compounding pharmacies are potentially a scam for patients who are trying to just get the drug fast and potentially get it cheap. And they're getting not only an ineffective chemical in the drug, but something that could be potentially harmful. So I think here, just to be honest, the bottom line here is really get it from a trusted pharmacy. And if you do get it from a compounding pharmacy, ask questions about whether or not they've had their drug tested, if they've had it reviewed. If they can't answer these questions, hang up and don't use it.
So if you can't get these new drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy for weight loss, or maybe you can't afford them, they're very expensive, often not covered by insurance, but everybody's seeing everybody else using them. It's all over social media, and people are wondering what is the most effective and, we should say, safe way to try to lose weight.
Yeah, I'm in that class. I would love to say that there's a quick fix to losing weight. I will tell you, abs are made in the kitchen. Don't try, especially since it's a new year, do not try to do everything all at once and go out and do a 40-minute HIIT class. if what you haven't done is think about your diet. And we've talked about really healthy diet swaps here. If you're drinking sodas, substitute calories for water. Do small swaps. If you're drinking alcohol, substitute half of your alcohol with water. Do the kinds of things that bring in more alcohol, bring in more water, take out more of the substances that you know are making you eat more. That's alcohol, that's usually caffeinated beverages and other colored beverages. And then start with your foods. I would love to tell you that I can eat, 7 to 8 servings of vegetables and fruits a day. Start with 2 or 3 and start with the things that are easier. But it is going to be the food choices you make that help keep the weight off.
That whole abs are made in the kitchen.
Yeah, there we go. That means you do sit-ups in the kitchen, right? So I know you don't have a crystal ball, but do we have a feeling like down the road, Ozempic will be more widely available? It will be more affordable. Like, is that where this is moving toward?
Yeah, I hope so. And look, I think we're all kind of watching. I'm a huge enthusiast of prescribing not just Ozempic, but we now have, Joe, so many classes of these drugs, GLP-1, kind of these inhibitors that have been incredible, primarily for diabetics, right? That's where they were studied, Joe. And I've got diabetics who've come off of insulin completely and are using this drug and have lost weight. We're looking at oral formulations and cheaper formulations with time. And I think we'll also know more about who this drug is appropriate for and who it's not. Remember, starting this, you usually do need to take it long term. It's not a quick fix either. There is no such thing as a quick fix. So I think in the long term, we'll have more choices, but those choices will still need to come with healthy eating choices. You can't substitute what you put in your body.
And you can't trust everything you see on social media. Don't try it just because someone you follow is doing it. Dr. Patel, thank you very much.
That's right. Thank you.
Coming up, beloved Eagles center Jason Kelce, now rumored to be leaving the field for good.
What we know this morning about Kelce's uncertain NFL future after he reportedly told a teammate he's ready to retire. That is next on Morning News Now.
Welcome back. Let's get to some financial headlines, starting with more details on that Spirit-JetBlue merger blocked by a federal judge.
Yes, NBC's Bertha Coombs is back with us with that and other money news. Hey, Bertha, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. That's right. Spirit Airlines may be facing some tough choices about its future after a federal judge blocked its merger with JetBlue, which was valued at nearly $4 billion. Spirit stock losing almost half its value yesterday. The company has been struggling to return to profitability as it deals with higher operating costs and supply chain problems. That's raising concerns about its ability to repay loans that are coming due in 2025. Top airline analyst says Spirit may look for another buyer, but more likely scenario is a bankruptcy filing followed by liquidation. Meantime, Fitbit and Pixel Watch users can get a free class at SoulCycle for them and a friend. Google announcing users wearing those devices to a SoulCycle class any day next week will get a complimentary class that they can attend with a friend. Now, they will be able to redeem that offer any class with the Soul Surprise presented by Fitbit theme from January 29th to February 4th. Get that? You go next week, then you get the free class the week after. Meantime, Taco Bell has a new breakfast menu item, cereal. Fast food chain has teamed up with Uber Eats on cereal that's inspired by the cinnamon twists that have been a hit with customers for years. Cinnamon Twist cereal is available in select cities across the country for a limited time, including New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and Dallas. And if you're an Uber One member, you can get a box delivered to your doorstep with free delivery on any Taco Bell breakfast order placed by 11 a.m. I guess breakfast burritos aren't enough for some folks.
I was worried for a second you were going to say it was like chalupa cereal.
Same.
Or
Well,
something.
it took me a minute. I'm like, there's no taco flavoring, right?
Relieved it's just the cinnamon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, your favorite. Something sweet.
Yeah.
You want to do a taste test?
Yes. Thank you, Bertha. Appreciate it.
Well, this morning, the sports world is abuzz over reports that Monday night's Eagles game against the Buccaneers might have been Jason Kelce's final career game, as Eagles fans eagerly await news about the future of one of the team's biggest stars and the brother, of course, of Travis Kelce. NBC News contributing correspondent Kaylee Hartung takes a look at what we know so far about the beloved player's football future.
Hey, good morning, Joe and Savannah. Jason Kelce likes to do things his own way on his own timeline. So even though it was reported by some outlets that he intends to retire, Jason is saying not so fast. The latest episode of his New Heights podcast with brother Travis dropped this morning, and following the Eagles' frustrating end to the season, the emotions are still very raw. This morning, Jason Kelce addressing reports that his career with the Philadelphia Eagles has ended.
When it's time to officially announce, what's happening in the future, it'll be done in a way that's, definitive and pays respect to a lot of people.
Speculation began after Monday's wildcard matchup when he walked off the field, visibly emotional. Citing league sources, ESPN and NFL Network had reported Kelce told his teammates in the locker room after the game that he is retiring.
There's a lot of emotion in the room, for sure. So I don't know what the future, holds for anybody in that building right now.
Emotion written all over his face and sharing the poignant moment with his family. A walk-on at the University of Cincinnati. He was drafted in the 6th round by the Eagles in 2011, and his career soared, becoming one of the most impactful players in the game. The 7-time Pro Bowler has spent his entire career wearing Eagles green, winning Super Bowl 52 and becoming an icon in the city.
Philadelphia!
The Kelce Bowl took his fame to new heights as Jason and his younger brother Travis faced off in last year's Super Bowl, becoming the first family of the NFL as mother Donna became a star in her own right.
It's kind of crazy at times, but I love a thrill.
But it was the younger Kelce and his Kansas City Chiefs who prevailed.
I love you, big guy. Yeah, I love you too.
In a highly anticipated rematch this season, the Eagles got the win. Their brotherly love always coming through.
Love you, big guy.
And of course, the Kelce family has been even more in the spotlight with Travis's relationship with Taylor Swift.
How's it feel that Taylor Swift has finally put you on the map?
Their top-rated podcast, now beloved by Swifties, along with Jason's wife Kylie and their 3 young daughters. Recognizing his career was nearing the end, Kelce filmed a documentary through the 2022 season. I sat down with Jason and Kylie at their home in August to talk about the film and his future.
I've been contemplating retirement for a number of years, and 2 years ago, I thought it'd be interesting to follow a player going into that.
He's also been candid about the physical toll the sport has taken on him over the years.
Not only is it hard physically, it's hard mentally, and it's hard with the amount of time that it takes to do it properly and to do it well.
Now waiting for Kelce on the other side of his football career is his family.
When home feels that good, it's easy to go out into the world and be like, I got this.
That is a family easy to root for. So Kelce Mania now takes over the cover of the newest People magazine issue on newsstands Friday. The brothers and Mama Kelce bringing readers inside their surreal world, as they call it. You'll remember Jason was named a finalist for the magazine's Sexiest Man of the Year. No one was more surprised by that honor than Jason. But as Jason's future will continue to be talked about, undoubtedly, it's clear there is a lot of life to live after football. Guys.
Welcome back. More of the cast has been revealed for the much-anticipated 3rd season of The White Lotus. I love this show. Walton Goggins, Amy Lou Wood, Sarah Catherine Hook, and Sam Nivola have been cast in the HBO series, along with Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, Patrick. They join cast members that have already been announced. That includes Michelle Monaghan, Parker Posey, and Jason Isaacs. The new season is set to begin shooting next month in Thailand, but we're not going to get to see it until next year. Creator Mike White, though, does promise it will be longer, bigger, crazier.
Here's what I love. Jennifer Coolidge is gone. She's well known for the Christopher Guest mockumentaries. So just go in and pull someone else from the Christopher Guest mockumentaries, Parker Posey, who plays just as eccentric characters. So I'm excited about that casting
Okay,
choice.
yes. I know. So sad, though, about her being gone.
You know,
Confirmed,
she had a good run.
For sure, at the Emmys. But what a great show.
We end this hour with a beauty queen making a difference. This is the moment 2nd Lieutenant Madison Marsh was crowned Miss America 2024 Sunday night.
The 22-year-old who represented the state of Colorado beat out 50 other contestants and made history, becoming the first ever active duty Air Force officer to win the title. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie takes a look at her story.
22-year-old Madison Marsh is not your typical beauty queen.
Your Miss America 2024!
The newly crowned Miss America is flying planes by day and winning pageants by night. On Sunday, Second Lieutenant Marsh soared into the history books, becoming the first ever active duty service member to win the coveted title.
Failure is not an option.
Her military experience front and center on stage.
It's been more than 6 years since that first solo flight, and I'm now an active duty officer for the United States Air Force.
Just last year, Madison graduated from the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado with a degree in physics.
Graduating from the Air Force Academy has enabled me with the skills to lead, to learn, and lead with passion across our nation.
She rose to the rank of second lieutenant and was selected to be a pilot. And that's not all. She's currently a graduate student at Harvard, pursuing a master's in public policy. She's also made it her life's mission to raise money for pancreatic cancer research. She started the Whitney Marsh Foundation in loving memory of her mom, Whitney, who passed away from the disease more than 5 years ago when Madison was just 17.
Pancreatic cancer is one of the most underfunded cancers in the country, yet it remains the #3 cancer killer.
Madison, now a voice for her mom and a role model for young women everywhere. From the flight line to the pageant spotlight, Miss America 2024 is proving that the sky's the limit.
Our thanks to Savannah Guthrie for that piece. Congratulations.
Yeah, how
to
neat
her.
is that?
No kidding.
Yeah.
What an amazing accomplishment. I mean, I've been in those jets and not easy to be a passenger in one, yet alone flying one.
And then Miss America at that.
Exactly. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But stay with us. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.